All right, this is an essay called Irrationality is the Root Problem. And I published this about 2 months ago. And at the time, I was getting a lot of ads on YouTube for Matt Walsh's documentary, What is a Woman? And I was starting to get annoyed by these ads. I was always seeing these ads and this smug, haha, look, we've really got the SJWs in a corner now. That was the appeal of the movie, right? Watch the SJWs squirm as they try to define woman. Now, I agree with the general message of the movie, which is that gender ideology is crazy. But I found the ads irritating because I think there is an element of hypocrisy here. In the movie, Matt interviews various SJWs, such as activists and professors. He asks them to define woman. This simple question puts them in an awkward predicament. We can see the pain on their faces as they struggle with cognitive dissonance. They are required to believe that a trans woman is a woman. This eliminates the meaning of woman, making it impossible for them to give a definition. See the trans paradox. Even the activists at the Women's March struggle to define woman. Matt Walsh does a great job exposing the irrationality of the SJWs. He forces them to confront the absurdity of their beliefs. But couldn't someone do exactly the same thing to Matt Walsh by asking him to define God? Matt Walsh is a Christian. He believes in a magic man who lives in the sky or in some ethereal realm beyond our comprehension. This magic man is his own father and his own son. But somehow the father and the son are also different, and have or had different minds. The magic man died on a stick for our sins 2,000 years ago. It's not clear what dying on a stick has to do with our sins, especially considering that God is supposed to be immortal and omnipresent, and so could not die in a meaningful sense. But apparently, nevertheless, God died on a stick for our sins. This God used to be the God of a specific tribe of people that he gave a special deal to for some reason. But now he is everyone's God because he died on a stick or something. He is omniscient and omnipotent, but he gives us free will. For some reason, he cares what we do with our free will, etc., etc., etc. Christianity is batshit insane. I'm not going to pull any punches here. Christianity is just literally fucking insane. I'm sorry, if you believe in it, you believe in something that is literally insane, and, you just refuse to think about it. Because if you thought about it, you couldn't believe it. Christianity is no less absurd than believing that a woman can have a penis. In fact, if anything, it is more absurd. These days, many Christians point contemptuously at the emerging religion of wokeism or left humanism or whatever you want to call it. New communism, maybe? I don't know. Bio-Leninism was a popular term a while ago, but seems to have faded away. Anyway, they will say it's a religion, and they will say that with a lot of smugness, as if it's a gotcha, like, aha, you guys have a religion. But this derogatory and dismissive use of the word religion is a self-own. If we should dismiss religions as irrational and absurd, which they are, then we should dismiss Christianity as irrational and absurd, which it is. Now, some will argue that religion is necessary for human beings, and if you destroy one religion, then another one will replace it. I agree with this to some extent. Most people are not philosophers. They need an established framework for life. They're not able to think at that fundamental level, the philosophical level. However, this is not an argument for Christianity over wokeism. It does not provide a basis for selecting one religion over another. You could argue that Christianity has beneficial effects for individuals and societies. However, if you justify religion by its effects, then you view religion as a means to an end, not as an absolute truth that must be accepted on faith. To judge a religion as beneficial or harmful, you must place yourself above it, right? You are the judge of it, so you presume to have the authority to judge religion, and thus to judge God, right? You are now the highest judge. And also you must have some prior standard of value, some non-religious value that you are using to evaluate the religion, and that is also above the religion. So you place both yourself and your value above the religion in order to judge it, and thus you performatively reject the authority of the religion. The whole point of a religion is that it's a kind of false ultimate authority. And the moment you start making that kind of argument for it, you're not religious. Consider the argument that Christianity benefits people biologically because it promotes reproduction. This argument presupposes your authority to judge religion as good or bad. It subordinates religion to your authority. It also subordinates religion to the higher value of reproduction. It views religion as instrumental to that higher value, right? So you're saying, well, religion is just an adaptation, and we can judge it by whether or not it makes people reproduce. So your higher value is reproduction. That is very different from saying you should have children because God said, go forth and multiply, which is an appeal to God's authority. It justifies the value of reproduction as instrumental to God's will, right? So for some weird reason, the God-man who died on a stick wants you to reproduce, so you just got to do it. Okay, that's a religious justification for reproduction. And that's very different from saying, well, religion makes you reproduce, and so that means it's good. If you value reproduction, then you don't need Christianity to make you reproduce. You will try to reproduce because you value reproduction, not because you believe in God. Any pragmatic argument for religion is self-defeating at a personal level. Now, you could argue that religion is adaptive for most people because it tricks them into having the right values. You could argue that reproduction is the correct value, but that people don't naturally value reproduction, and so they need to be deceived into accepting it. You could argue that religion provides a false foundation for effective values. I agree with that view to some extent, but it is an atheist argument for religion, and it wouldn't persuade anyone to believe in God. Any attempt to rationally justify religion is a performative rejection of it. A truly religious person accepts his religion on faith alone. It has to be an unexamined assumption that he just, absorbed from his culture. He grew up with it. It's like a language. He doesn't think about it. It's subconscious. He just accepts it. That's traditional religion. That's how it works. Once you start trying to justify it, you're already not really religious anymore. Matt Walsh uses rationality as a weapon to attack the SJWs. He is being selectively rational, and this is an irrational and hypocritical use of rationality. The mental gymnastics of the SJWs are also irrational and hypocritical. Mental gymnastics are rationalizations, not rationality. They are a post hoc attempt to construct pseudo-rational reasons for dogmatic beliefs. A rational person would use rationality to critique his own beliefs first and foremost. A rational person would accept valid criticisms from others and change his beliefs. Christianity and wokeism are memes that propagate socially. They're not spread by rational persuasion. They propagate subconsciously by imitation. We not only imitate how other people behave, we also imitate what they believe. We absorb culture subconsciously from those around us. Christianity is a tradition. That means it propagates mostly from parents to children and within a community. Children absorb religious beliefs from their parents without critical thought. Skepticism is not part of religious instruction. The child is supposed to accept religious beliefs and practices, not question them or think about them. Wokeism is a fashion. That means it propagates mostly between peers and through education and media. So it doesn't propagate from parents to children. People become woke as adolescents and young adults. They absorb this new religion or ideology from their peers, their teachers, and cultural authority figures, such as celebrities. There is little critical thought involved. People adopt fashions for social reasons, such as status signaling, getting attention, and conforming to one's peer group. They are seeking status, attention, and approval, not the truth. Religions and ideologies have a pretense of objective authority, such as God or morality, but the real source of their authority is other people. People believe in them because other people believe in them. Both wokeism and Christianity contain absurdities because they're not propagated by rational persuasion. People don't think their way to these beliefs. People simply adopt them without much thought at all. The sacred is whatever we place off limits to rationality. The sacred must not be examined or questioned. It frames thought and discourse. It is a heresy to reject it. It is even heresy to think or talk about it, other than to affirm it. Religion places ideas above the human mind. Rationality does the opposite. It asserts the authority of the mind to judge all ideas. Questioning an idea is asserting one's power over it, the power to accept or reject it based on one's own judgment. Christians and wokists both subordinate themselves to memes. Implicitly, they are subordinating themselves to other people, because other people are the source of the memes. The meme gets its authority from other people. It's a circle. People accept the meme because others accept the meme. That is true of both traditions and fashions. Now, you could say that rationality is just another authority, but there is an important difference between rationality and religion or ideology. The authority of rationality is your authority. It comes from you, not from a meme, and not from other people. An appeal to rationality is an appeal to your own judgment. The demand to be rational is just the demand to think for yourself. Rationality is careful, critical thought. It involves an oppositional attitude toward ideas. It requires that ideas be tested before they are accepted. To have a rational worldview, you must examine and question your own beliefs. You must do to yourself what Matt Walsh did to the SJWs. After you have eliminated your delusions, then you will be ready to construct a rational worldview. But it's so much easier to make fun of someone else's delusions while clinging to yours. Christians dodge skepticism in exactly the same ways as wokists. They say it's complicated, or I'm not here to discuss my religion, or God is beyond explanation. They get angry. They disengage. They use pejorative labels, such as nihilist or Satanist, to terminate discussion. They use in-group signals, such as Shrek tipping a fedora, in place of arguments. They rely on social validation, right? Because the ultimate basis of the belief is social. You can see how people get their beliefs by the fallacies that they use to defend them. I'm sure Matt Walsh would react like the SJWs if someone questioned his religious beliefs. He would experience cognitive dissonance. He would try to dodge the questions. He would engage in mental gymnastics. He would have the same disregard for evidence and logic as the SJWs. Like them, he would cling to his delusions. And that's the problem. People are irrational. They don't think. They outsource their judgment to the crowd, or to the media, or increasingly to parasitic memes. The problem is not a specific religion or ideology. It is all of them. Playing whack-a-mole with delusions doesn't fix human irrationality.